it's time for us to begin. So, we'll just close the eyes. Resting inside the center of the head. Placing inside one's mind the sense of the ever-present divinity that is always there in us. I'll start with a short little sloka. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Saram, Guru Deva Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Agandha Mandalarkaram, Bhaktam Jenaracharachayam, Tashpadam Dhanushetam, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So, good morning. I don't think it's afternoon anywhere. Well, it is afternoon somewhere. And although it's afternoon somewhere, all of us are in the same place at the same time. And it doesn't matter the geography. It doesn't matter where we are on the planet. All of it is occurring all at the same time. I had a wonderful, I could say, a wonderful practical experience of this once. It's just coming to my mind, so I'm sharing it as we get going first. I'm coming to you from New Jersey in the United States, which is just outside New York City, actually about 5-10 minutes outside of New York City. And one evening, I was speaking to a disciple in Paris. And in the conversation that we were having, I happened to be standing near a window and looking outside this window. And I mentioned that it was such a beautiful moon outside. And this disciple in Paris said to me, I am looking at the same moon also. And then in looking at the same moon also, I said to her, you know, the interesting thing is you are 6 hours ahead of me. If we were actually to follow that line of how the explanation of time occurs, you are 6 hours in the future. However, I said to her, how can you and I be looking at the same moon in the same time if you're 6 hours in the future? It means the reality that is there is different than the layer that we impose upon it. And I'm thinking of the complex and the simple as I'm beginning. There's a story of Hariharananda where he is in the ashram in India, and he was in seclusion and observing silence. And there was a talk scheduled. A monk was going to come and give satsang. And so they came to him and they said, "We know you are in seclusion, but would it be possible for you to come outside just for this monk?" And Baba said, "No, well, I am in seclusion." And they said, "Well, it's only this one time, if my memory serves me correct on the story, I'm kind of paraphrasing it, just to come out for this, to hear this talk by this monk." So Baba said, "Okay, I'll come out just to hear this talk. But only call me when everything is ready," right? So they call him when everything is ready. And he comes out and, and he says, "Who is giving the talk?" And he said, "You are." They said, "You are giving the talk." And then he said, the whole time he is giving the talk, he is watching where the talk is coming from. And in thinking about where the talk is coming from, we are all here together. And just in the same way that the physical distance between, the New York City area and Paris, the physical distance is there. But the moon was something that transcended that physical distance. If we ask ourselves, wherever we are right now, as I am sitting here, I am asking the question, John, can you rest in where the talk is coming from? And I ask you, my friends, can you rest in where the listening is coming from in you? Where it's coming from in you? Where the seeing is coming from in you? It's such a simple statement. And I think the profundity of it, we miss it. We miss it. It's not a deeply complicated spiritual formula. It's not a technique that involves all kinds of, movements of the body. And it is just a simple thing of to rest inside oneself, to see where the speaking is coming from, where the listening is coming from. Where the seeing is coming from. It's not coming from outside, you know? It's not coming from outside. It's coming from deep inside our own selves. Deep inside our own selves. Today, a disciple was sharing with me yesterday, and it feels appropriate in the conversation of where things are occurring from inside of ourselves. Today, in the Christian tradition, it's Pentecost. For those who don't know, there's a story in the Bible recounting in the life of the Christ, Jesus, that after his crucifixion and his resurrection in the beginning of Easter, 50 days after that occurrence took place, first there was, his death and resurrection, and then 50 days after that was an event that they called Pentecost. And it said that at this gathering of the disciples, at the gathering of them, that day, the Spirit of the Lord descended into them. The Spirit of the Lord descended into them, and when it descended into them, it said they began to speak and preach, but they also began to speak and teach what they call in tongues. They began to speak and teach in different languages. So it's all of a sudden, it's like, whoever you are, you're sitting wherever you're sitting, and imagine all of a sudden, grace unfolds in you, and language is not a barrier for you anymore. And the Spirit of the Lord, as it were, like a wave, came out and touched other beings. And it didn't matter the physical difference between us. And so one asks oneself again, where is it coming from? The Spirit of the Lord made itself known inside of them. And Gurudev asked the same question. Where is it coming from in us? Where is it coming from? As we grow from childhood, adolescence, to adulthood, I think the next thing is old age. I am making my way there by the grace of God and gurus in their hands. As we move, what tends to happen is a kind of accumulation starts to happen. We acquire more friends, we acquire more possessions, we acquire more accolades, more qualifications, more things, more houses, more cars. All of these things we continuously acquire and acquire and acquire and acquire. And there's nothing wrong with acquisition per se, right? And we'll get to that. And then we say, in our spiritual practice, know where this is going, don't we? In our spiritual practice, we oftentimes get caught in the same acquisition process. Oh, how many retreats have you piled up? How many different kinds of techniques do you have? You know, how many different teachers have you seen? How many different gurus do you know? And it becomes a subtle form of the same acquisition. But Gurudev asked a simple question. What's underneath all of it? What's at the heart of it all? God bless him, Pragyananda Baba, he just says, watch your breath. Oh my Lord. Watch your breath. Watch your breath. You know, acquisition, watch your breath. It makes me think of the 10 Commandments, you know. And it's almost like a list of instructions to follow, right? A list of instructions to follow, a list of techniques to do to get to the end of the goal. But if we all remember, do you remember what the first one is? You know, it's not thou shalt not steal, and that, you know, and thou shalt not covet. It's not that. It's not those. If I can kind of paraphrase it, the first one is to honor the Lord thy God with all thy heart and soul and mind. It's the simplest. Does this sound familiar? It is the simplest technique. It is the surest technique. But there's so many layers that we have to get through to get to that simple one. Where is it coming from? When we sit down to do our practice, where is it coming from? Who is doing it? Who is doing it inside of ourselves? You know, friends, it's not as far as we think. It isn't as far as we think. Why? One says, because the gurus have told us so. They have told us this. They have told us. In thinking about being here today with everyone, and you know, and the idea of simplicity. You see, Gurudev, he was the epitome. What's the word? Epitome of simplicity. He was the heart of simplicity. he was tremendously complex and vast also. And I can't even begin to comprehend what that means. But the little bit that I got was he expressed a deep simplicity. Watch where it's coming from. Pragyananda Baba. Do not miss a breath. Once in New York City, a house where many of us got initiated, on Fifth Avenue, about a block and a half away from the Empire State Building. This disciple had a loft, and that's where Baba was. So once, he and I just happened to be sitting and we were eating together. Some of you might have heard this story, but for me, it is perhaps the heart of our practice, the absolute heart of it. And we're sitting and we're eating. And you know, when you're finished with the bulk of the meal, there's just like a little of the dal like left, you know, the sauce of it, as it were. And he takes his finger and he just gently moves it across the plate, you know, as though you were just kind of picking it up. And he runs his finger across the plate and he looks up and he says, even now, he says, even now, I am feeling that Hariharananda is not doing it. As he's moving his hand, he says, even now, I am feeling that Hariharananda is not doing it. Only the God is doing it. Then he said, this is what you must feel. This is what you must perceive. This is your Kriya. Even though, he says, I am not feeling that Hariharananda is doing it. Only the God is doing it. This is what you must feel. This is what you must perceive. This is your Kriya. So one says to oneself, where's the talk coming from? Where is the listening coming from? Where is the seeing coming from? And to place oneself right there, not in some other thing. Right there. It is the heart of everything. Because there is where we live our lives. It is the heart of everything. And in resting in that place, the ripples, the intonation of what that mystery is will unfold. Love, a child of that mystery. Compassion, a child of that mystery. Selflessness, a child of that mystery. Care and consideration, a child of that mystery. So let's all together, irrespective of place, irrespective of time, distance, let's all rest in that place. It has no time, has no distance. So I'll ask that we just, wherever you are, however you are, just try and sit comfortably with your spine comfortably straight. Gently closing the eyes. And follow the Guru's words. Even now, you are to feel that only the God is resting right in you. The fullness of it. Because there's no half God or piece of God. There is only the fullness of, he said, there is no non-God. So then who is listening? Who is listening? So the eyes are closed. And it's just a gentle awareness in us. In between the two eyebrows. Grateful. Thankful. Gratitude to the lineage, to Gurudev. Gratitude to Pragyananda Baba. To all the saints and sages. And out of that mystery coming an open-heartedness. And a deep quiet. A deep quiet. And a stillness. An impeccable stillness. Your whole heart is there. And with every breath coming in you, the life force, only love, and every inhalation, every exhalation, We're not separate from that mystery. It is in every breath, the fullness of it, in every inhalation, the peace of it, every exhalation. Where is it coming from? You're resting there, in between the two eyebrows, in the center of the head, Ajna chakra. A deep, deep quiet. No sense of above or below. You're just abiding. Just there. To deepen the concentration, the awareness, just take a gentle exhalation from the center there, as though you're gently coming down to the base of your spine. Then inhale, slow, long and deep, offering this breath to the divinity in you. Hold the breath and gently bend forward, as though you are bowing down, bringing the head down as far as you can, comfortably, gently, all of it with love, and then exhale, a normal, natural breath. Feel even here with every breath, only love, only peace, only love, only peace. Where is it coming from? Go deeper inside. Don't waste time. Then take an inhalation again, slow, long and deep this time. Then hold the breath, and then slowly, please take your time, gently rising, 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 and exhale. Where is the breath coming from? How is the mystery in you? Let every other thought go. Stay there 100%. The mystery in you. The love in you. Again, from the center of the head, just behind the eyebrows, just gently exhale, as it's just a gentle release, not strained. And you're there at the base of your spine. Then take an inhalation, slow, long, lovingly, holding the breath and bending forward. Exhaling. A normal, natural breath. With every inhalation, only love. Every exhalation, only peace. Open-hearted, open-hearted. And let everything go. Then from the third eye, taking another deep inhalation, holding the breath, and gently, gently, gently sitting up and exhaling. Pragyananda Baba saying, do not miss a breath. Hariharananda saying, watch where it is coming from. Go deepest inside. Your luminous nature. Stillness. Calmness. Go deepest into it. As we'll continue to sit quietly, letting everything go. Everything. So slowly, awareness, gratitude, and a full heart. A full heart. Extending not just to ourselves, but everywhere. Everywhere. No distance, no time. All of it right here, right now. Extending, extending, touching all beings. And in this, the spirit of that divine has entered in and has touched everyone through you. The living divinity in each and every one. The living divinity. This is your Kriya. This is your Kriya. May the blessings of God and Gurus, that is always there. You know, it is always there. May our hearts be open to it, that it be apparent to us in our lives. So I humbly bow to each and every one of you, those here and those not here. And may the spirit of that divinity not only touch us, but awaken and be nourished in us in every single breath. Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, and Jai Guruji, Jai Guruji. Thank you all. God bless you all. Bless us all of us, and not just us on the call. Everywhere, everywhere. Jai Guru.